Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Lauri and welcome to CyberMeetUp. This is the first one of this year. Hello, everyone inside this room, and hello, everyone who are watching us either live from there, or if you're going to, look us up later on and you're re-watching this sometime in the future. Hello, future you. Yeah. So we have a good, great cyber meetup for you today. We have three talks to you, so that for you today, and the topics are here. And most important to point out here is that we're going to have in the end. After these three talks, I want to present a little bit of an event to invite you to Bucharest. Has anybody been to Bucharest before? A couple of people, all right. So the European Cybersecurity Competence Center is hosting some sort of an information day in Bucharest, and they want to invite you there. I'll tell you all about it in the end, but then, let's go through this this whole program. Again, we're doing this so that we could basically meet up with some of our colleagues and friends and competitors and maybe arch enemies, and we can basically come together, and we can actually do this in English because there's a lot of us in this community who speaks English. So inclusivity is very important here. And we will start with a good friend of mine, Tanel, who is from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He's going to tell us a little about what is the Tallinn mechanism. It sounds very broad, that there is a mechanism in Tallinn, but it's something to do with cyber and something to do with Ukraine. So kick us off. Tanel.
Thank you so much, Lauri, and good that you mentioned that I'm a friend of the arch enemy in the room. So my name is Tanel, I'm Ambassador Blanche for Cyber Diplomacy at Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and my main task as this ambassador at large is to really try to translate some of the international scene in cyberspace into kind of political language, and also shape the international environment in cyberspace. But today I'm here to talk about Tallinn mechanism, or how do we actually collectively, internationally want to assist Ukraine. We all know that the war in Ukraine is not just a kinetic one. There has been a lot of cyber activity, malicious activity, and actually before the rockets, we all know the KSAT case. It started with cyber, and actually the cyber activity has been there already for years, not just the past 2 years. So the big question for the international community has always been, what's the best way to assist the victim? And with any kind of war situation, it's always very chaotic. Somebody gives something, and another one gives another. When let's say 2 years ago, in March, we started seeing many different lists from Ukrainians, what they needed. And quite often these lists, also different lists, went to the same donors, and everybody was confused. So what is actually the priority requirements? What do they really need? And at the same time, all the donors were trying to send something, and here in Estonia we tried to assist as much as possible. And it was in a way really inefficient way how to help Ukraine. So it took us a bit of time until in February last year we met 10 donor countries in Brussels, and decided to create a new system how to assist Ukraine. The 10 countries that are involved are the US, Canada, UK, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Denmark, Sweden, Poland, and Estonia. So quite a remarkable group of countries. We devised a new system, kind of a 3-tiered system to help Ukraine. We have kind of a steering committee. All the countries come together once in a while, and in a couple of weeks we're going to have another meeting in The Hague. And this is really to talk about big problems, big issues. But then we have front and back office. Back office in Poland that kind of should act like a mixing pot, where the requirements from Ukraine come in, and we try to match this with the donor opportunities. And by this, we're trying to really eliminate this kind of competition between donors, that who can do what and who faster, but to do a really sensible thing and in assistance. And then we have the front office in Kiev. And this front office is really to interact with the locals, try to solve local issues there. For example, what we are really working hard on is helping Ukrainians to create their own systems, how to coordinate amongst themselves. In cyberspace, they have not had this kind of coordination before. So it's quite logical that at first they did send so many different requests to us. But now there's a system where they are really trying to talk to each other and really identify these priority needs in short, medium, and long term. So this kind of 3-tier system should enable us to work much better. And this front office in Kiev is manned by Estonia, an Estonian guy. So we have quite a heavy involvement already there. Now, why am I talking about this here? This is not just the foreign minister's business, of course. This is the whole Estonia's business, and we are regularly actually meeting also with a Estonian, what is it in English now? Association of IT Companies, ITEL, as well as some other interlocutors, because the work that we need to do in Ukraine is a long-term one. So we need to really address immediate needs, but we also need to look in long-term vision. So this is kind of one part here. Second part, I mean, yes, we are engaging with Estonian businesses, but also we are engaging with all the big tech companies. So we have been in contact with a group called CDAC, Cyber Defense Assistance Collaborative. That is kind of roof organization for all the big tech companies that are active in Ukraine, starting from Microsoft, Palo Alto's, Palantir, Amazon Web Services, Mandiant, everybody's there. So our goal is also to coordinate with these companies to make sure that we all are kind of looking in the same direction and doing the work as efficiently as humanly possible. We've had many questions from the big tech, like, are you trying to kind of cancel some of our projects or do something differently? And we always said no. The added value that we can always bring is to tell you that, okay, we have these priorities, we're doing this and that. Maybe you should turn your attention to this another project so that it would be complementary to our kind of collective effort. Now, I failed to mention two other key partners here. Of course, I mean, Ukrainians obviously are also there. And from Ukraine's side, the system is led by Deputy Prime Minister Fedorov, whose name shouldn't be uncommon also here. But we also have the European Union and NATO as observers. and as possible contributors to the system. Telemechanism is not the only assistance system that is there out. There's also IT Coalition, and some of you might have heard about this. This is also an initiative that has been kind of initiated or co-initiated by Estonia. It's another donor mechanism, but there's a big difference there, and it's quite easily understandable difference. Telemechanism is about civilian assistance. IT Coalition is about military. However, one of these headaches that I have right now, and what the war in Ukraine has shown, is that the delineance between military and civilian is not so clear anymore. So fortunately, as in Estonia, we know everybody, and everybody is like a phone call away. I'm constantly talking to the Ministry of Defense people who are in lead of IT Coalition, so that we can always coordinate how we do things and make sure that the assistance that goes internationally is as good as it can get. So this was my introduction to this topic, and my call to you all is that when we go through the association of IT companies or in other means, and asking for ideas, ways to collaborate, then you know that this is really for Ukraine, and to make sure that our actual arch enemy doesn't win. Thanks.
Give a round of applause. We have time for a couple of questions. Let me ask you a first question. So, by donors or by like, what is the sort of assistance that these donors are actually pledging? And maybe there are companies here present. Could you give us a couple of examples? You know, like what could these companies here provide that the Ukrainian civilian sphere could need?
That's a really tough question, because the needs are so diverse. I mean, I can talk about routers to some specialized software. What is really important here is that we do not define the needs. It's the Ukrainians who have to tell us what exactly they need at any given moment. So we want to really be as transparent as possible, and really inform regularly what are the priority needs, but through the association of IT companies.
Okay, questions from the audience? All right, I'll give you a... Say who you are.
I'm Gerd. Maybe you can tell us where can we find this list of things they need by priority, or is it somewhere?
This is something that we are anticipating very soon from Ukrainian side, the first list. I mean, this is quite a new thing. We launched it only on 20th of December. So right now, I had even today a phone call with the Deputy Foreign Minister of Ukraine, and we should get that list quite soon. And then through the telemechanism system, we will get this down to those who can provide assistance.
So it's not going to be like an open Excel table somewhere in Google Drive that, you know, like everybody can just see that what somebody needs.
That's a bit of overstretch in terms of security.
Hey, Google is okay, so fine. Anyways, more questions.
Google is also engaged there, so don't worry about it.
Any other questions? So Tanel will be here, and for a little while, if you have questions after this, thank you again, Tanel.
Thank you.
All right. We have a regular thing going on at every cyber meetup. We have this one segment which we call threat landscape. Sometimes we from RIA do this. Sometimes we ask our partners from different other companies or organizations to do this. But in general, the threat landscape segment is something that we want to provide to the community here. This time we've asked our good partner from the Palo Alto Networks to tell us what do they do, but also what do they see and what is the threat landscape from their point of view. I'm going to ask Edgars, who is head of business of this region, right? And to actually to take us through the threat landscape from your point of view. Go right ahead. I'll give you the clicker because I lost
Thanks,
it.
Lauri. I'll actually focus a little bit more on the cyber predictions of what's waiting, all of us. More, maybe a bit less on exactly threat landscape today. Yes, hello everybody. It's nice to see you in a venue that shares part of our name. Actually, question, is there anybody who does not know what Palo Alto Networks is? Okay, that's good. Then I'm in a good place. Before I hit it off, I just wanted to quickly tell you what do we do, actually. We have 3 platforms that we develop and provide. We're a global cybersecurity company, and that's Zero Trust Network security platform. Doesn't matter whether that's physical software in the cloud or as a service. We have a cloud-native application lifecycle security platform. Yet again, cloud doesn't mean that it has to run in the cloud. It's how the application is built. And then obviously the security operations platform. But more importantly, all of that is underpinned by our Unit 42. It's our threat research and incident response unit that actually today sees more threat information, more threat intel and telemetry than the Five Eyes nations combined. So we have great visibility of what is happening both worldwide and also locally in the regions. So if at any point you're interested in deeper discussions and more into that, let us know, let me know. And we can have one-on-ones, we can have different kind of setups to fill you in on what we see, and it would be great to also hear from your side what you are seeing, to have that feedback loop. But yeah, to the topic. So our CSO team in EMEA has put together 7 cyber predictions for 2024. And obviously, as already in year 23, AI is a big thing. At the same time, we see that in 2024, AI will be a minefield for CISOs, for security teams, because AI provides both good things and great capabilities for businesses, for security teams, and obviously the same thing also for adversaries, for them to improve on their tactics and practices and tools and everything. But AI also opens a new page and a new tool set that is not yet ready for enterprises, that is not ready yet for organizations to fully cope with and understand how to utilize it properly, so that from security perspective, it is regulated, but also from business perspective, all the benefits are reaped. Actually, today, with this one, I will just quickly touch on these subjects, and at the end, there will be a link to a bit longer version of these cyber predictions of a pre-recorded webinar at this point already that I recommend you to spend your 30, 40 minutes of your time and go into that. Generative AI obviously will be something that, and is something already today that we are seeing more and more, that enables cybersecurity teams to perform quicker, better, and faster. We will definitely see more co-pilots coming from the tools to enable quicker task processes and procedures. And at the same time, yet again, generative AI usually is a way and possibility to get information flow out where it might not be recommended from a security perspective. Consolidation has been a big thing already for quite long time. Organizations see consolidation often as a possibility to optimize expenses and optimize their workflows in terms of interaction with many vendors that they have today or had yesterday. What we see is that consolidation without platformization might fail, or in most cases will fail, because consolidation does not mean, it's not equal to improved processes, to improved security efficacy. It's just less tools, but they have to work together, they have to be integrated, and automation obviously has to be at the center of it. As you know, in October, NIS2 comes along. As with any regulation, new thing that comes sort of top-down, it will involve more organizations, more people, and obviously more work for the regulatory bodies to actually implement and enforce all of that. And what we are predicting is that the influx and the actual amount of new entities that they will have to govern and that where they will have to take in the incident information from will basically create a choke point for them. And it is very important that both the organizations and also the regulatory bodies understand how to better cooperate, how to assess and filter what kind of information on ongoing threats has to be, which incident has to be shared with them, which maybe is not affecting business operations that critically and can be sort of be informational level only. Clearly, as with anything, it is much better to assess and predict the needed amount of resources and tools before the storm, instead of doing that and learning the lessons in the storm while the attack is happening. How many of you are engaged with boards of your organizations, with the leaders of your organizations? Or you see that still cybersecurity is somewhere lower? I see some smiles there already, okay. Yes. Sameness too will bring cybersecurity to the board level. It will force, in some situations with more engaged CEOs and engaged organization leaders, of course, it might come sort of from their own motivation, but with NIS2, it will put additional pressure on them to bring in cybersecurity leaders of their organization to the board level, because of the added accountability and responsibility from the board level, where they need to understand both what cybersecurity is and means for their organization, at the same time also what it will, what and how it can impact their operations, their mission-critical processes. Quantum. Is anybody worried about quantum computing coming on? Lauri is, okay. All right, good. We see that organizations will start assessing, and they should, in our eyes, start assessing what post-quantum time will bring to the organizations, to the cybersecurity. There are post-quantum cyber encryption tools and capabilities available already today. Question is whether you are using them already or whether you are thinking about them to implement. It would be important for you to assess the application stack and the tool stack and see whether that will be impacted, will be important for you or not. Because already today we know that threat actors that have the capabilities are intercepting and storing data flows for later decryption. For decryption when quantum computing will be a reality, when they will be able to do that. So even though it's not there yet, it's clear that it's not going to take 10 years time to be the reality. So already the information being transmitted today might be at risk because of the capabilities of tomorrow. Applications. The current cloud-native application development process, in most of the cases, is a complete process of art. And there are only few organizations, at least that we see, who have managed to take complete grasp and control of security component of that. And we see that this will change in year 24. Because organizations are and will understand more and better that applications actually are becoming top 3 risks for them in terms of cybersecurity. AI brings another vector of threat and application development as well. Just and only because with the AI-enabled tools for developers, there is more and more risk of buggy applications being deployed out there. So a framework, security framework, that is applied and can be applied to the creative development process without clipping their wings, so letting them soar and develop cool new stuff, is an imperative need going forward from today. Like I said, I have to click on myself. Ooh, don't have the very pretty conversion picture of this slide. Jesper Olsen, our CSO for the Nordics, has done a currently pre-recorded webinar. I recommend you guys to visit that, spend 30-40 minutes of either commute or some downtime in a warm, cozy place at home, if there's nothing better to do in this cold weather. I have a QR code there as well, but I know that not many of you will go and scan it. So, and because the link is a bit longish, I will paste it in LinkedIn as well, so that you can go and have access to that one. Otherwise, thank you. My name is Edgars, as Lauri said in the beginning. If there are any questions, happy to answer.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Applause, big applause, big applause. Right. So we have some time for questions now in front of everyone, and then maybe later on personally. Yeah.
Of course.
Are there questions in the audience right now? There's a question right there. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Adrian Venables from Taltech. I'm the program manager for the Cybersecurity Masters, and AI and cybersecurity is seen as a big thing, but we don't have the expertise. We're trying to develop it. AI is seen as the thing. In the past, it was blockchain, it's quantum, and AI is now the current buzzword. Are we at the stage where we're saying that AI will be the big thing, or are we seeing it as the big thing? Are we seeing evidence of it? Are we seeing our adversaries using it? Are we seeing new forms of AI that are specifically created for cybersecurity or for exploiting vulnerabilities? Or are we just looking at current versions of AI which are being adapted? Are people just using ChatGPT saying, create me a virus, which it will do?
Yep.
But at what sort of stage in the development and evolution of AI within cybersecurity, offensive and defensive, are we seeing?
Well, first off, it's not the future, it's today. I mean, AI is there, it's big. We as a company also already are using AI for multiple years in our security tools to defend against the adversaries. At the same time, obviously, the bad guys are doing exactly the same. Where we're at today is the beginning of the explosion of it. Because if historically, when a new algorithm came out commercially, it took months for a sort of community-driven open source version to come out. Today, it's weeks and days for them to adapt and get on that new creative thing that has come out. And the applications of those obviously are, yet again, both good and bad. ChatGPT can be easily manipulated. I mean, our guys have played around with it, and with a clever questions and queries, you can easily get a new malware created with just sort of basic knowledge.
Can I chime in here just a little bit just to address the same question? Because I've also considered like AI a lot of like it's a buzzword, and you know, like maybe we're not there yet. But for CISOs and for, as you know, like information security point of view, one of the things that may actually be there is for companies who and employees who actually are going to share their internal secrets and internal documents to ChatGPT, and thereby actually going against the process, policies and protocols of their own companies, and then sharing this their own, like for example, you're asking ChatGPT to translate your letter, which is actually meant only for, you know, the other person, or you're going to share the piece of code that so that ChatGPT could actually analyze it, thereby basically just, you know, like giving this code up to this, you know, somebody else in the cloud environment. And so this is, you know, very similar to using sort of like there are companies that restrict the use of Google Translate. There are companies that restrict these kinds of cloud tools anyways. And these generative AI tools are being used right now by companies to actually do, and, you know, companies are, you know, employees are actually releasing their secrets to ChatGPT. And the other thing that's actually also there is that a lot of people are using ChatGPT to help them code, right? And so this may result in a lot of buggy code in the end, which you know, sometimes ChatGPT does a very good job, much faster answers than Stack Overflow, but sometimes it just gives you the wrong answer, or you know, the simple answer. And so it still doesn't have the availability. So one of the results could be that there's going to be a lot of applications with very, I don't know, similar bugs there. So I just wanted to, sorry to hijack this idea here, but
you're spot on.
This is something that we see and we are considering here as well.
You're spot on that, and also. Of course, ChatGPT in this context is sort of the best of the bad, because there are tons of other AI tools out there that are put there just and only to feed on that information that people will be willing to share. And from the front, you will never, ever see and understand that, because you still will get the result.
All right, any other questions from the audience right now? If not, he will be here, and you will be able to ask him about the future predictions after we finish the program. Thank you very much. Another applause, please. And we fixed the obvious issue that we're not in 2023 anymore, in 2024. Thank you. Next up, we're going to have Vyacheslav, to come up here and talk to us about Internet of Things and the intersection between Internet of Things and cybersecurity, some of the issues and challenges that he's been working on. Go right ahead, the slides are up. Right now he's representing Tartu University, but background in Telia is something that makes him sort of an, he has experience in this area. So, and also I just want to point out, maybe you have it in your slides or not, Tartu University and Slava are working on one of the research products that we have commissioned from Tartu University on the security of automated systems, which means that if a factory or an industrial player wants to put, I don't know, robots or IoT devices into their production line, sometimes they are very careless and put all these sensors up on the internet, and everybody gets to, and it makes it vulnerable. And so we are asking these research guys to come up with good solutions that everybody could use. So take it away.
I guess you just summarized, so I can pretty much leave.
No, don't leave. I mean, sorry.
But thanks, Lauri, for the intro. Yeah, full name is Vyacheslav, but as Lauri said, Slava is very convenient, and you can call me Slava. A bit of my background. Not that Lauri pretty much mentioned everything already. Yes, I'm more of a generalist, jack of all trades, but basically my initial experience started from maritime at first. I have a few years under my belt of riding the sea as well, and then at some point I think as most of you searched to IT, found my way to IT college. At the same time ended up at Telia, and basically for the last almost 9 years I was in Telia, and yeah, eventually building up IoT solutions and heading the IoT team. And since last year's summer, I decided that's enough for me. Basically, the IoT is building itself already. Let's do something different. And there was an interesting position, which was and is still related to IoT, but more focused to the security part. So that's what I'm doing right now. And my approximately 20-minute talk will follow up in 3 sections. So at first, I'll describe what kind of services we provide at Telia and what IoT resembles for me. Then I'll briefly cover the importance of the cybersecurity, but I guess for you people, that's kind of not so much of news. And eventually, we'll finish up with the discussion or explanation of what kind of research we are right now doing and why it's important. So I guess you all have heard about Telia, and you know what is Telia. So Telia provides lots of different services, and when at the very first we started it, somewhere 2016 to 2017, it was kind of a trouble explaining to people that what is IoT, because as IE is right now, IoT was as well a buzzword, and IoT as well promised to solve all of the problems and still is trying to solve all of the problems. But money had to be made and solutions needed to be delivered. And in a nutshell, actually, one of the easiest to understand IoT solutions is actually remote metering, which in a nutshell is nothing more than just a simple smart meter gathering some kind of consumption data and sending it to the cloud. the value of it comes from the fact that nobody has to actually write it down on paper, and the data is there at a specific time with specific accuracy, and there is no delay. Because as you all know, if the system is rather big, and there, for instance, as in this case, there's a delay in water readings, then eventually it kind of resembles in the yearly balance of the water company, right? So it's kind of an issue. And one of the last biggest projects that I was heading was that is still ongoing, is that within Tallinn, throughout the next, now it's left approximately 3 years, 25,000 water meters will be replaced to digital, fully battery powered, and they should work 10 plus years. Nothing fancy, very simple, right? Now the second solution, which also got relatively good traction, is when in the first case we focused on smart meters. Then in the smart city case, we don't limit ourselves with smart meters anymore. We expand the solution and provide a digital platform for data gathering to the end users to use, to utilize, to hopefully make better decisions on how to plan the city, how to plan the constructions, right? And the initial kickstart was with Tartu, but at some point we got Tallinn on board as well, and those links, as far as I know, should be working, so you can check yourself as well what kind of data points are there publicly visible. Both of the cities have public view, the view that is accessible to every user, but as well both of the cities have like private view, only visible for the city representatives, if I may say so. So they ideally they should use it for some kind of problem solving, some kind of issues whenever they want to analyze some sort of consumption, or for instance if they want to know how there was a pilot in Tallinn, how noisy the streets were, or how much cars or how much people pass specific roads or intersections, etc. And from tourist perspective, it's convenient to point out some kind of maybe tourist attractions, maybe public places of Wi-Fi and water taps, etc. So that was the second service. Now the third, I think, that is the freshest or the newest, is the most interesting maybe. I see that many of you are holding your phones in your hands, and probably most likely each one of us has one of such devices in our pockets. Each of those devices actually generates data when it's turned on, even if you don't want, because it's kind of signals out where it is, what it does, and if it is moving throughout the location, it kind of pinpoints to the beacons, to the masts where it is. And of course, directly pinpointing to some device, we can't use that data because there are some specific data protection laws, some restrictions, and it wouldn't be really nice. But when you aggregate, anonymize the data, you can actually find answers to some specific interesting questions. And in the case of AIS, was that they promote different events, and they want to understand whether those events are actually visited by the people, by the amounts of people the organizers are reporting. So based on the aggregated data, we actually see where did the people come, how much did they spend their time there, where did they move on after that, did they come from abroad, or were they only in-country tourists, etc. So basically, again, nothing new, already devices that were deployed to the field, but just reuse the data in a different manner. And basically, that's eventually what I figure out throughout my 5 years building IoT solutions, that we can think of IoT, that IoT is a digitalization business. But in reality, if you build out the value chain that starts with the end user devices, which might be tractors, but they could be handheld devices, they could be smart meters. All of those devices use some kind of connectivity. that connectivity and device itself leaves some kind of a data stamp, whether intentional or non-intentional, it doesn't really matter. If we use that data, aggregate, pre-analyze in some sort of way, we eventually can provide to the end user either reports, visual interpretations, or data in a raw manner so that the customer can use in their own way for whatever matters they want to use it. And for me, that specifically is the IoT value chain. So it's not only the device that you put somewhere and forget about it for the next 10 years. It's okay to think about it that way, but the IoT value chain is much more important. And especially now when we move, when we've understood the importance of security, especially in the times when we are more and more reliable to some specific devices, we need to be sure that those devices are working. So, why is it important to protect yourself, right? I guess those next two slides maybe aren't so new to you, but digital incidents, they are on a rising trend, and yes, the AI maybe is not so sophisticated as a tool itself that you deploy something and it acts on its own, but I address AI in that context that it's actually a tool for somebody to learn simply new stuff from scratch. That's the most applicable way of use right now. So it doesn't matter what you actually use it for to learn. It just helps you to understand stuff. How does it work? And well, the geopolitical situation has changed. We've understood it already from the previous presentations. But coming back to the, let's say, new users or new threats, is that it's being deployed by people who weren't previously like hackers, or they weren't even bad people. It's easier to adapt for newcomers. I think that's the biggest threat when the AI comes into play. But that's it is what it is, right? And when I was thinking, so how to specifically fit the cybersecurity into the IoT picture, because we previously had a big value chain of different actions, devices, assets, processes, and eventually end data or some kind of product. And I figured out that you eventually need to protect everything. You can't really rely on some specific one type of protection or think that you protect only the end product or some kind of a process in your value chain. You need to think it through from the start to the end. And yes, in some scenarios, you can rely on your partner. For instance, in connectivity or in the device production, you rely on the partner that they fulfill their measures and their reliability. But eventually, you need to understand where are your most valuable both business and system assets, and you need to protect those at the biggest cost. And coming now then to the analysis we are right now doing, bringing in my, let's say, industry knowledge. So we're analyzing automated systems that are actually either deployed right now or are already being used by companies, small and medium-sized Estonian companies. The objective is to analyze what are exactly the systems, what are the risks, threats in those systems, and how could those companies actually protect themselves if they don't have the in-house solutions or the in-house engineers to provide the full protection, or how could they distribute the protection either besides to the partners, or at least they acknowledge what are the risks and what would be the impact if something actually happened. Right now, it's a work in progress, so I don't have anything to present on that stage yet. But in March, there will be a conference, Stark Testus, so we intend to present the first findings there. That should be at least a 15-minute talk, but in June already we have planned a Kyberinnovation seminar conference in Tartu. So there we will have around an hour and a half workshop, and then we can go deep dive into the specific findings. And maybe my request to you before I finish is that right now the issue that I see coming from the industry and looking through the theoretical materials and the threats on the landscape is that if you have any ideas how to push it into the industry, how to present it so that it actually could be usable, then ping me either today or through LinkedIn or wherever you can. So because those insights will be most valuable, because right now we're looking, we're mapping, and on theory, that stuff is understandable. But when you discuss it with the company, with the industry representative, especially in our current economic stage, then we understand that money has now a price, and cybersecurity might not be the first thing on that money chain to come. But from my official presentation, that's it, but I have a video. And before we kick off that video, that's a short video about a minute, you could question yourself on that video. Is it an IoT problem? Is it a cybersecurity problem? Or is it a human problem? So if we could activate the video.
Playing jazz.
Playing jazz.
Smoothie.
Making smoothie.
Calendar.
No meetings today. Remember, tandläkare at 9:30.
Fire off.
Fire off.
Open door.
Door open.
Sånn. Så skal vi sette en til.
Ja. Open door.
Wrong voice command.
Open door.
Wrong voice command.
Open door.
Repeat that.
Open door.
I didn't understand that.
Hey, open door.
Play on the floor.
Get over the door. Open the door.
Wrong voice command. Error.
Hey there, with a rock. Open door. Open door.
Right.
All right, thank you very much. Give a big round of applause, please. Do we have some questions from the audience right now? Yes, there's a question over there. Just a second. I'm going to microphone. Please introduce yourself.
Fellow Slava here. Also share the burden of the name that no one can pronounce at all right. First of all, I want to apologize for the phone call I received. Note for future self. And secondly, question for you. So you mentioned that essentially jury's tracking system where you can basically trace how many people attended a given event, right? And you also said that you can't really go further than the numbers of attendees, right? What does really stop you from going further?
You mean what does really stop from tracking more? You mean that in that sense? Well, I think you all know the answer to that. That technically speaking, there aren't. No, there surely are some restrictions, but as far as I know, the capabilities are actually much more than we in reality use. So the real constraint is the defensive legislation and regulations in reality.
Are we at risk? Are we, as a citizens, at risk?
No, I mean, at least here in this jurisdictional zone, definitely not. But if you think about the consumers on the other side of the border and whether they are asking the questions you are right now asking, probably they're not even asking, but the capabilities of those companies are pretty much the same. So in the essence, technically it's possible, but here we're definitely not in the threat.
So essentially there are no protective technical measures in place, only regulative ones.
I'm not sure because I wasn't like involved in technical solution in the building it. I'm not sure how specifically the data is anonymized and whether there is like people involved, but I can assure you that this locally data isn't used to pinpoint anybody like on a regular matter.
All right, I'll have to be satisfied with that answer. Thank you.
But we can continue discussion if that's an interesting topic to.
I mean, this is an interesting topic probably for everyone, and let's just be very, very honest. People who provide us with services will have access to the users of those services, right? You know, and then the question of, you know, what do you do with that data? All right, there's another question.
Hello, Adrian again. When the battery runs out on the water meter, do you get no water or free water?
You get still water. Probably up to some point you might have get even free water, but eventually there will be follow-up invoices because there are multiple meters on that chain, and eventually there will be some. No, you will understand that some meter won't work, but. Since in those specific meter cases, they provide the data on a daily basis, so we actually see if there's, for instance, some meter isn't responding for a week, and there will be some technician responding to that.
More questions? Go.
A quick one. On the IoT and cybersecurity, you mentioned that you'd need to cover the entire chain. So far in your research, do you think it's realistic to secure the devices themselves? As we know that today, most of the IoT devices, when they come out from the manufacturer, already are insecure.
I think that probably not, but a good, I mean, I personally would be happy if a company, based on our research, could at least understand where are the risks, put a price on those risks, and then move on. Even if they don't do anything with that, at least they know, they've acknowledged that we have that in place, and that's it. That's up to them to decide the next steps.
All right. Slava will be here for a little while after this ends. Thank you very much one more time. A little big round of applause. Thank you. Yeah. Let's see. No, you're good. Right. Let's finish up. There's one promotional item that I wanted to tell you about. You may know that we at RIA, Estonian Information System Authority, we do also promote some of these European funding opportunities where we invite Estonian companies and organizations to take part in different, grants, apply for grants, and bring European money to Estonia. We just heard that people are we need money in Estonia, right? So there is a new set of calls. Right. So there's a new set of calls for proposals in the Digital Europe Fund, and the European Cybersecurity Competence Center is holding a brokerage event for those calls. I'm not going to go too much into these calls. You'll have to find out the actual names of these calls and the documents on these calls in the European Funding and Tenders portal or the Cybersecurity Competence Center website. There are altogether, there's going to be about 84 million euros distributed, and this 84 million euros is going to be distributed between AI technologies for security operations centers. There's going to be tools for compliance with Cybersecurity Resilience Act, all those kinds of things. There's so many different things going on. Post-quantum cryptography, there's a couple of ideas that are asking for strategies, for European strategies. You can totally go and Google those things yourself, and I will not go into the details of this. But what I'm going to go into is that there is a brokerage event and an information day on February 22nd in Bucharest. If any of you, if any of your companies are interested in any of these ideas here, or want to be part of a consortium where somebody else is already leading this, and you're looking for partners, then this information day also has a, they have a pitching, pitching of ideas and projects there as well. If you want to do a pitch about, your capabilities, where you could, or your organization could actually contribute, then this could be a good place or time to actually find partners to take part of this 84 million euro distribution round. There's going to be other events like this coming up regionally as well. You don't have to go to Bucharest for all of those things. For the next round of calls, we're going to have a local, or like Estonia, Finland, Sweden, this kinds of brokerage events around this area too in April. But if these calls are of interest to you, these calls will close in March, in the middle of March. Then take this up, look at the cybersecurity.center.europa.eu website. And, 22nd is the information day itself, but you would have to submit something by 18th if you want to actually participate, or like have your pitch there in Romania as well. All right. With this, I think we're done for today. We're going to invite you back here. I mean, we're not done. We're going to invite you back in a month or so. February 22nd, on Thursday, should be the next time that we're here. Yes, we were a little late. Last time we said that it was going to happen a week earlier. So now we're a little bit more. We can understand that, we'll have to do this in February 22nd so that it happens. Right. Thank you very much. Enjoy the drinks. There's a little bit of food left there as well, coffees and everything else. Mingle, find people, your arch enemies or whoever, and then have fun. Everybody online, bye.